the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, Radford pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big dog sports talk, lighten up the dark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark, Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
Hey, good morning. It's Tuesday. Had to do a little reboot there. Hope everything's okay. Anybody have any issues? Let me know. Marvin Miami joins us coming up a little bit later on this hour. Brian Siegler will get the full scoop on everything that went on with the Boundary Corner podcast, spring game, see what his thoughts were. And then Mike Burnham, who will give us his expert analysis. We got you beat, T-Bird. We got 32 right now here outside of the Family Fencing Studios.
Every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's
32.
the spark, Big Dog Sports
It's brisk.
lighten up the dark. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Rick's in the zone, every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got
But we hope you're doing okay. Hope you're staying warm. Supposed to get a little warmer after today.
lighten up the dark.
We'll see. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. As it's unmistakably cold. Where's Morris this morning? We need Morris. Brian was drinking pretty heavily on the pod. Hopefully he's recovering. Oh, great. Thanks for being this. Was he? Well, you know what? Good for him. Good for him. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. There he is from the smell of fresh cut grass of Virginia spring. We are happy here in Palm Coast just listening to the birds sing. Instead of Jen's sax, maybe T-Bird can play a tune on his front porch swing. Wow, Morris coming in strong today. Coming in hot. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, that's awesome. And that's what it's all about. It's a spring game. It's a spring game. Yeah, you just listen to the birds sing because, you're out there. Your beach is your yard, man. That's got to be pretty cool. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel, by the way, if you are new and you haven't done that yet. What's stopping you? Let's go. It was a good news day outside of the show in terms of the channel. We're going to have a couple of really cool announcements here very soon. Very soon. Going to hold off today, but very soon. Coming in hot. You sure you're not a veteran? It's coming in hot. Freeze warning last night. I hope nobody had their greenery, their plants, flowers, whatever you were planting. I hope nothing got destroyed. Unbelievably weird weather is the only way to put it. And I know it's Southwest Virginia, and I know we have all this strange stuff, but man, it just feels really weird. Really, really weird. So I'm going to talk about this in the context of, and I feel like I have to preface it because I'm not trying to single out the fact that it's a female athlete. But let's see here. I want to make sure I get everything right. Okay. So, and I just want to ask your opinion, and I'll ask Marvin too. Iowa State women's basketball, which reportedly lost $2.5 million, is paying Audie Crooks, who left Oklahoma State, $1.4 million in pay for play. Now, the reason I ask this is not because it's a woman. So let's not anybody try to go there. I know Marvin might try to go there. But what I'm asking you is, just from a business perspective, this is where this thing is completely off the rails. This is what makes you want to pull what's left of your hair out. Why would a school, and just tell me if this makes any sense to anybody. And I don't know. I've never seen her play. They say she's not a very good defensive player. She's a very large person. She's like 6'3", 2 something. I mean, she's a force inside, and she scores a lot of points. But explain it to me. If you reported a $2.7 million in deficit for your women's basketball program, why would you agree to pay a player $1.4 million for a sport that has no chance, and now you have even less chance to ever be profitable? Why? Why would you do that? So again, this comes down to the people. Fish rots from the head, as Dad said many, many times as I was growing up. Why do people in the position of power, how do you make these decisions? How are these allowed? I know how this stuff works. I work in Radford's administration. Nothing is just done because a coach wants to say, ooh, I want to pay this guy this amount of money. No, it's got to be run up the flagpole. Our president resides on Martin Hall, or inside Martin Hall on the Hill. everything has to be run past him. We have a very limited everything we can do, right? So here's what we want to do, the coaches will say. Goes to our administration in the department, it goes up top. Does it make any sense? And if it doesn't, you're not doing that. How does this get approved? And this is what's happening. This is just the latest example. And this is what's happening across the country. And it's not just women's basketball. We're seeing programs that make some profit. There was a kid who signed with Baylor showing his new house. Kid, his package that he's getting is like $6.8 million over 2 years. And then he's showing his house that's worth like $1 million. And we're supposed, and yet these schools will look at you, if you're a Tech fan, and look at you, as Jay Pearson did last Monday, and say, hey, we had a record year, but we need more. Does that entice you to want to give more? Or do you finally just dig your feet in the sand and go, I'm done. I'm not funding this. What are we doing? I'm not paying for his $1 million house. Shouldn't someone of any kind of fiscal responsibility had said at Iowa State, wait a minute, she might be a really good player, but why? How can we do this? Where's this money going to come from? Are we going to go out and ask for it? Or do we have reserves we're not telling people about? Remember the old money laundering scheme, I was told. So I saw that story and I just don't understand. That's never going to happen, Brandon. That's not going to happen. There was only one Caitlin Clark. That was lightning in a bottle. This girl's been playing college basketball for a while now. No one's even heard of her outside of the Big 12, unless you're really a women's college basketball fan. This isn't investing. Investing is when you're going to put money somewhere to try to make money, right? Whether it's an IRA, whether it's a stock, whatever it might be. I'm putting money in that because I'm making money later. That's an investment. This is not an investment. Your program's already lost over $2.5 million. And you're paying one player $1.4 million. It's reportedly the highest deal that's been reported given to a women's basketball player. They're not going to all of a sudden make all this money in that program because she has signed. If she would have been that big of a priority, then Oklahoma State would have made some kind of push. And maybe they did, and then they realized, you know what? Hey, this isn't worth it, even though she was there as a player, as an all-conference player. There's never going to be another Caitlin Clark in women's college basketball. They had one shot, and they blew it. Steeler Hokie, what's up, brother? Good morning, Rick. I gave for 22 years to the Hokies Athletic Fund, and now you can't hardly afford a seat in Lane Stadium. Well, yeah. Personality and appeal has to do with marketing. And I don't know, I've never seen her talk. I've never seen her. I've never heard of her until I saw the deal. Let's put it that way. We knew who Caitlin Clark was if you didn't ever follow women's basketball. It's like a Seinfeld episode. You're right, T-Bird. It's the exact opposite of an investment. Prometheus says, my pushback on people saying the coaches are getting paid. Well, the coaches are putting their kids through school, providing for their families, while the players buy new cars and gold chains. True. I mean, I don't know how else to say this. This has just gotten stupid. This is just stupid. What's continuing to go on, and I think you're going to see, unless it's just rich people who want to show off being rich people, you're going to see regular folk like me and you who are asked to give money. You're going to see that stuff dry up. It's already happening across the country. It's already happening in Blacksburg. I told you about my conversation with a multi big time spender. As soon as he heard Jay Pearson, I'm done. We had a record year, really. Gentleman said, I worked hard to help provide that. And he's telling us, well, we've already fallen behind without any kind of parameters about where that needs to go. How are the Hokies going to feel when we spend all that money and we still don't win? I'm waiting for that. But this just is common sense, which we have very little of, if any, in college athletics anymore. We lost $2.6 million in our program. We reported a deficit. Oh, let's pay her $1.4 million. Is she going to elevate Iowa State women's basketball to compete with UConn in South Carolina? You think all of a sudden we're going to see Iowa State in the Final Four next year? And then there's the other side of this. And we even saw this at Radford because I've heard our coaches talk about it. Why is there no thought process to thinking about how young people who are still trying to figure out how to go to the next stage of their life? And I'll just use my youngest son as an example. He's jumping from high school, his situation last year, to college. That's a major adjustment, right? And that's just a kid going from one stage to the next. Now you're bringing in millions of dollars in some cases. Now, in many cases, if not millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And why is no one doing the correlation of saying, hey, maybe if that person who's 19, 20, who has no maturity to handle that kind of thing, I wouldn't have had, are they still going to give me maximum effort? See Avidalis in Blacksburg. Are they still going to be able to come and give me what I need as a coach? Are they going to give our fans what they expect, knowing what kind of money they're making? Can they handle that? Are their handlers putting so many crazy things in their head that they feel like they're above the whole process, even though this process is making them rich? Why is no one doing some kind of, okay, you want to give that kid $3-4 million. Well, what's that? How's he going to handle that? What kind of assurances do we have they're still going to come out and do what they need to do? And don't even bring up academics because it doesn't matter. No one's talking about anybody's academics anymore. We've talked about that here. Many of you in chat have brought that up. When's the last time we've heard of schoolwork being important? Someone make it make sense. And you can't, because it doesn't make sense. And this goes back to something I've said a lot, and it has to be one of two things. Either there's complete irresponsibility leading these departments, or we're just flat out being lied to about the economics of what's inside each of these departments. Now, I can tell you for hell's sure at Radford, we're telling you the truth with our budget limitations. I know what's going on in the Big South at most of our schools. I talk to a lot of people around those schools. What's up, Chris Lester? Good to see you, brother. Prometheus, there you go. Great example. The highest paid players at Virginia Tech did not perform. Kyron Drones, last year anyway, highest paid tech player, was awful. Neo, awful. Carolina's given him $4 million, by the way. Is he going to all of a sudden become an all-conference player? I know Tech fan thinks that he will. But this could be any sport. Let me preface this by saying any sport. This would be like if I heard a baseball player was being paid what this women's basketball player is being paid at Iowa State, Audie Crooks, when they reported a $2.6 million loss. Okay. Somebody make it make sense. Or any sport, softball, baseball, anything that's not making money. Because most of it looks like this, right? And I'm keeping this as an example because this is a Big Ten blue blood. You only see 2 programs in the green there. And yet we're supposed to buy into this. You as fans, as donors, as loyal season ticket holders are supposed to continue to attack this with the fervor that you have your whole life. And I used not to believe that, T-Bird, but I think you're exactly right. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And it'll never be what it was before. Morris, Mike Young's back next year. As far as the extension, I don't know. But I know he's back next year. I mean, this is, they've already signed the class. They've signed their core, and they've got guys coming in. They signed some guy yesterday. So in terms of long-term, though, maybe they put that on the back burner for a little while. I don't know. The other side of the argument is, and I get this side of it too, this is why somebody needs to find a balance. And I agree with this part, okay? Let's be fair the other way. Let's not look at one side and think that's the only argument here. And Chris, let me know if you agree, because he might be going there too. So the athletes are getting the money. Where was the money going before then? Was it really being put back into the athletic departments like we were told, or were people just scraping the top of the icing off the cake as much as they could? People who are already making a lot of money. Was it just going to even more fat cats like we see in professional sports? Now, I've said it a lot, all right? And I don't want to come across as hypocritical, so I'm going to be honest. Whenever there's a labor dispute in sports, I'm siding with the athletes. I know they're already rich, but we're talking about billionaire owners who in a lot of cases don't want to run their franchises to make them competitive as long as they can keep making money. And as a professional sports fan, I want to watch the folks who entertain me. If it comes down to a choice, I want the athletes to make the money over the billionaire owners or whomever it might be, team presidents. And all this, you know what I'm saying? We never see those people. They're already rich. Who knows what kind of business dealings they're doing? I don't want to see them make more money. So I'm always going to side with the players. Like whenever there's a dispute, like baseball is going to go into a free-for-all. This is one time I'm going to be siding with there needs to be a cap, there needs to be a floor, just because I want the league to be competitive again. Where was the money going before the athletes were getting it? Was it going where we were always told, going into projects, going in to fund educational value for athletes? I don't know. The money's become so big because of the media rights deals and the TV deals. So there's the other side of it. Are we just going to kick our feet when we hear things like this? And this is no knock on Audie Crooks at all. Not in any way, shape, or form is this a personal attack. This is just looking at the economics of how it makes sense. Was the 2.6 that they said they lost, was that just a lie? Because you don't act this way. I can't go to someone and say, hey, man, I need a loan. I don't have any money. I got to pay some bills. And then they see me 2 weeks later driving around a 2026, I don't know, big SUV or some kind of new truck. Well, wait a minute. I thought you said you needed that loan for some house repairs. Well, Tebow says, are you helping a kid when you just hand them a new car? I think not. It gives them no incentive to work hard and earn it. Working hard, loyalty has slowly been taken out of sports. Absolutely. So a lot of these kids are already professionals, right? They're already professionals before they even think about going to the next step. So that's partially true, Chris. There are a lot making big money that shouldn't be making big money. Abadalis was one because he didn't earn it. He had a reputation. He got over here, and then he didn't earn it. This is where contracts and this is where employment agreements need to be implemented. You're not earning your money. Some folks are just getting money just because it's the thing to do to outbid other people before you even know what they can do. What makes sense? Todd Grantham explained that it's on tiers type of recruits. They tell them ahead of time, this is what we think you're going to be here, so here's what our budget is. If you're going to be a role player, if you're going to be a special teams player, then this is your budget. This is what you get. Prometheus says, I think the person that puts the money up deserves a return, not the players. This is how business works everywhere. The players don't deserve that kind of money. He says, that's not true. He was already a professional athlete in Greece before he got here. The coaching of ET was awful. Yeah, but I know you might be right, but it's not all on coaching, just like it's not all on the athlete. It takes two to tango. Usually when people get divorced, and I can speak of it because I was divorced, it's not just one person's fault. Right? This isn't all on Mike Young's coaching staff. I'm not disagreeing with you. Something didn't mesh there. And we'll know the answer once he gets with Michael Malone. Like, if all of a sudden he burst into an all ACC type of player, then yeah, you're going to be exactly right. But I saw a guy who didn't like to give a lot of effort on defense. I saw a guy who sat his final 12 minutes of his collegiate career when Tech really needed him because of all the injuries that they had. They asked him to do more because he was paid a lot of money. And he never did it. And I'm not putting it all on him, but I think there's equal responsibility there. Because this is going to go down, at some point, this is going to go down the well of, are coaches in college going to become what they are in the NBA or even in the NFL? They still have more influence in the NFL. But in the NBA, they hardly ever feel like they're coaching guys. They're more managing guys, egos in their lifestyles. You're seeing more and more players come out and criticize not even like old school players who recently retired, watching the game today and hearing about what's going on, and they're disgusted with it. Great players want to be coached. The NBA, I'm not sure what kind of coaching is going on in that league today, as opposed to even 10 years ago. So in this case of this Iowa State women's basketball player, I would just like to ask their administration. So how do you validate this decision? And how does your president, how do the people on campus validate this? To what end is this going to work? Are you going to see all of a sudden a boost of 10,000 season tickets be sold because you signed her? I mean, I'm sure there'll be some bump. Is Iowa State women's basketball really that massive part of your athletic community campus that all it needed was a little push to get from the red and into the black? Those are the questions I'd like to ask those people. And I wish they would have responsible media around there that would ask those questions. Like if I had been there the day Jay Pearson gave the presser, I would have raised my hand and went, so you say you need more, you're already behind. Well, is there any kind of estimated amount you're asking Tech fans and Tech donors to continue to give? And then I would have said, well, if you're talking about the $229 million and the $52 million that's already coming in after that, which is over $280 million over the next 4 years, and you're admitting how far behind Tech's already fallen behind, don't you think that there should be more being done by the people in charge of power to fix it? Nobody asks those questions. Is it all money laundering scheme? Chris, you're closer to it than any of us. Do you believe that we're getting fudged? You know, do you believe that what we are hearing about, all these deficits and all this desperation for money? I mean, what are you hearing? You talk to these kids, agents, you know what's going on. You've got some inside knowledge. Is the whole money laundering thing accurate? I'm starting to think more and more that it is. You and I and everyone else, we all have budgets. We look at our electric bill, we look at everything that we do, and we think, okay, that's going to be a tight month, man. All right, well, I won't be able to do this and that. I'll be okay, though. I'll be everything covered. And then some months, oh, cool. Or maybe it's every 2 weeks when we get paid. Oh, I just took care of the car payment and electric bill, so I have a little extra cash here at the end of the month. That's how most normal people have to live. This is not, there's nothing about this that's normal. And I don't think I'd even be pushed back on it as much if we weren't constantly told how ridiculous, how poor we are as schools and institutions, and how we need more. Like if I'm an Iowa State booster or women's basketball friend of the program, it always comes back to blue chips. I'm going, okay. 1.7, really? So I don't know. You tell me. Tebow says, my point is a kid may be big time and make bank, but are you really helping them? That big payday gives them no incentive to go work hard. Prometheus says, that's my point on the coaches versus the players. Neo got millions while Young could have been fired. It's different. We have a human capability deficit in this country. We've become so reliant on computers that we can't perform. It's funny you say that. Yesterday, for instance, I had, 7 or 8 different interactions, just student athletes walking by me, and every one of them is just like this. I mean, they're walking to their door or walking to their area, and I'm always looking up and thinking, hey, how are you? There's none of that. Hey, how are you? Oh, there's my door. See ya. You wouldn't believe the ordeal that I had at my dentist office. I don't know. It's good discussion, though. It's a good discussion. And the biggest joke that I always think about is how this was always sold as amateur athletics when everybody else was making so much money or keeping the money what they were making. And here's the other side of it again. Let's play devil's advocate on the side of the athlete. We didn't hear about any of these. Well, we may have heard about it from time to time, but we didn't hear about any of these athletic department major deficits and struggles before athletes were getting paid. Now, did we? We heard, hey, we needed money for more projects. This is what we need to continue to be competitive. We need to build this new facility. We need this new football field house. We need this new weight room. We need this new training complex, nutrition, whatever it is, fill in the blank. So we need your money to help us build that just so our program can go out and recruit kids to stay competitive. College athletics has become, and maybe it has been all along, of all the sports entities, it's the responsibility of the organization in professional sports to field a competitive team. It's the responsibility of the owner to hire the right coaches, the coaches to hire the right assistants, for the general manager to make the right decisions in free agency and the draft. Then it's up to those professional athletes to come in and create a winning team. It's not up to the fans who are there to support. It's not up to the fans who are out buying a jersey to make that team better. They're just there pulling for their team. If you want them to come back and spend their money, you better be good. But coaches are fired and hired, GMs are fired and hired, etc., because they're not putting good teams on the field. College athletics has become, we can't be good unless you give more. It's your responsibility, hokey giver. You want us to be able to get this program back up to where it needs to be? Well, you better dig in your pockets and give us more. What about the president who's retiring? What about the athletic director who's embattled to the point to where he doesn't control football anymore? What about the new head coach and his staff? How much of that responsibility to turn the program around is on them as opposed to it being on you all the time? This is what college sports is. Make it make sense to where the responsibility of whether or not you're good or bad seemingly is completely on you. Not the decisions we make like they just made at Iowa State, where we lost $2.6 million in this program. We just paid out $1.4 million to one player. Nah. It's up to you. And if you don't want us to be good, then don't give us any more money. Then okay. I mean, am I wrong about that? You tell me. You tell me. Fans sit there and they give their money because they love their alma mater. They love their football program at Virginia Tech. And, they want to say we help contribute. However success looks in their eyes, that's why you contribute. I'll tell you, for 100% knowledge from what I know, even around our league, folks who are getting paid lots of money, the only school they're attending are online courses, just so they have a posted grade to where they can go from the semester they start their sport to finish their sport into the next semester. No worries, Coach Elmo. Coach Elmo butt dialed me. But just make it make sense. Money laundering scheme. It makes more sense to me every day. And this is somebody who would know. Because this is what they do. It pops up every day. I know it seems like we attack this every day, but then something else pops up, and it's on everybody's mind because this is what you care about. College sports was separate from professional sports. You get tired of professional sports. You get tired of athletes not caring, getting arrested. You get tired of the showmanship or lack thereof. You get tired of all that crap. You hear about all the salaries. It's not enough. You hear some Major League Baseball player signed for $400 million contract over 8 years. You know, nobody understands it. So we go to college sports, right? Oops. And maybe, you know what? Maybe I've also been wrong. Maybe you can't call it pay for play because you're getting paid way before you even play. Like, we don't know what you're going to do here, but here's your money. Carolina's paying Neo on potential. Saw what he did in Blacksburg. They're going to trust Michael Malone to make him into a $4 million player. But nobody's asking the right questions. And it's not a knock on any of the kids that we had at Radford this past year, but you could tell it's a different type of mindset, them coming in as an athlete as opposed to the programs we have for women's soccer or women's lacrosse or men's soccer, baseball, right? It's not the same. It's not the same. Marvin, Miami, joining us on the program. Good morning, Ms. Marvin. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing all right, Rick. How are you?
Well, we're having a discussion because I know how much you care about college athletics. It means a lot to you. It means a lot to all of us, which is why it comes up often. But I'm looking at this Iowa State situation with Audie Crooks, right? And again, let me preface this. This has nothing to do with the fact that it's a female athlete or women's sports. I'm just looking at the economics, right? They reported they lost $2.6 million. She's going to make $1.4 million, the most highest paid reported women's player we've ever seen. And I'm trying to figure out how that gets approved at the highest level of a university when, okay, we have this deficit. We're asking for more money, but let's give her that coming into a program that's not going to remake that money. And we're seeing these decisions at all levels, not just women's basketball.
Hope, Rick. It's the hope that
of what
bringing her in is going to allow them to break out, and it's like people will start talking about us. And I think it's kind of a upside down world, and people are afraid of being left behind. And they're like, this. People are going to be talking about our program. Our program is probably going to get on TV way more than they've ever been. It's going to do all these things, and so that's what. It's the hope that it's not just this player. It's the hope that then other top players will say, hey, maybe this is an okay place to go. And they think it's going to be this big sea change. And I mean, maybe they're right, but it's a big risk, right? It's a gamble.
Yeah. Just look at the number. The numbers tell us it's a gamble. The pure dollars. And I don't know. I don't understand.
If that happens, then everybody will say, oh, look at that, So I think that's the game that people are playing right now.
But there's no way that Audie Crooks is going to rise to the level of a Caitlin Clark. That was the peak of college women's basketball interest that we haven't seen really ever.
Well,
we haven't or since.
The thing is, everybody is chasing that, right? Everybody's chasing that. And so they think this is what's going to happen. So,
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I
we
know.
see it also. It's not just like, women's basketball. We see that
No,
across the
yeah,
board. People think
absolutely.
this is what it's gonna take. This is gonna put us, if it's a team that had a great history and they kind of fell off, and this is gonna put us back on the map, right? And it's just this outrageous competition that we're seeing right now for attention. And also it's all about too recruiting these top players, because if they see, look what we're doing, with XYZ, that could be you. So all of that comes into play, and it's what's my rival doing, what are the other teams in my conference doing? I've got to keep up.
How much does it surprise you that these administrators, people who've been educators probably a long time, just assume that all these young people can handle all this, and they're going to check in with the right mindset to come in and try to earn this money, as opposed to what I know is going on, and I hear it from coaches all across the country. They come in there, they get those first few payments, and you don't get them back. They show up when they show up, and you try to coach them.
They show up, you mean like for practice? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they come and do what they're supposed to do in terms of practice, but they're not coachable. They're not listening anymore. They're thinking about their next investment, or how can I parlay this into more money? See, the assumption that a kid that's immature, emotionally and development, I couldn't have done it. I'm not just judging like I couldn't have done it. I don't know if I'd have been handed.
You would have walled it out, Rick. That's what you would have done.
I mean, I can't imagine what I'd have done. I would have been irresponsible, just like they are. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
What is important, and I wish more schools would do, is if young people are getting this much money, that there would be some kind of system in place to have some people to help, so that they hold on. And it doesn't have to mean telling them exactly what to do, but at least giving the advice. Give the advice. If they don't listen, that's fine, but at least put it out there. Give the advice. You're getting a lot of money. You're going to have a lot of people coming around wanting this money, sort of like what they do when players go pro. They have programs where they talk to rookies about, family is going to come out of the woodwork, people you haven't seen in years and years, and they're going to want a loan, or they're going to want just straight up money for this or that. And it talks to them about managing so that hopefully they don't end up, in a worse situation. So I think since now all this money is in college, they should be doing something similar. They should be talking to them. These are some safe places to maybe put your money, to think about investing your money. You may want to go and splurge on something, and that's fine. And I think any of us would do that if we got a big windfall, but you have to put some limits on it. This is what you want to do, because you don't know what tomorrow may bring. You don't know, you may have a devastating injury. You may never play again. But if you're smart, this money can continue to work for you. So I wish more schools would do that to help. And of course, you can bring the players to that, but you can't guarantee that they'll listen. But also some help for them, and some help for their parents to give them some advice, just like general, not, you don't want to open the door to people coming in saying, oh, you need to invest with me. No, just someone coming in to just provide general advice. Like, what is a safer investment? What's a little bit riskier? Things you should consider. How do you handle people asking you for money? Because you're a nice person, you want to help, but if you help everyone, then you're not going to have anything. So I would love for schools to do that. Maybe that's something that needs to be dictated to them from on high. You've got to have a person in place. That person has been vetted to provide this type of information, because we don't want to see people, blow all this cash, because it's life-changing money for some of these top kids to get, and they need a little help, as anybody would, like you said. Like I would have known exactly what to do.
No, I mean, agreed. And it's like, look at what Tech did. I'm going to use them as an example too. They raised tuition 3% next year. If you're going to be an out-of-state student to go to Virginia Tech, it's going to cost you on the average of $65,000 to $68,000. They raised that primarily to raise the student fee, which is going to contribute more money into athletics, more money to pay athletes. There's a separation in the student body more so now than ever than the athletic student body.
Right.
And I know at Radford, I talked to students. It bothered them. They knew what some of these players were making. So they're like, why should I go support that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do they have charge fees for kids to attend games?
No, not at Radford.
Okay.
I think
So that blew me away because that
Yeah.
never happened. UNC, you're a student, you can go to game for free. You don't
correct.
have
You
to
show
pay.
your ID. Yeah,
But
you're in.
I've heard some schools charge the students, and that just kind of blew my mind. But I guess, you do pay an athletic fee, and I don't know like what it is now at UNC, but it never felt like, oh, this was bad or it was a lot. But when I first heard that some schools actually kids have to pay tickets to go see their own teams play like at home, I was blown away by that.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. But
And
then
you
there's
need that support, right? You need the students. You want a wild and loud and crazy student section to back your athletes on the field or on the court.
And the other side of it was, in devil's advocate, because I like to look at both sides of things.
Mm-hmm.
Where was the money going before, right? Were we just lied to all these years? Well, how much projects needed and how much were people just going, all right, hey, look what we got donated. Here you go. Sam, here you go. I don't know. I mean, now it makes you think, right? It makes you wonder. I don't
there's so many questions swirling around this. And, it's hard because I see, like you're saying, I see both sides of this because, if I were a student athlete, a top student athlete, I mean, I would want to get everything I could get, right? And hopefully I would use that in a smart way. But that's kind of, the American way. We talked about that. We love our jobs, but if somebody came to us and offered us a substantial amount of money to go work somewhere else, most of us would be gone, right?
We would go. That's right. That's why I don't blame the kids who are jumping from school to school. It's not their fault. They didn't create the system.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Right. This was the people that were supposed to be in charge that allowed this to happen. Mm-hmm. That's who the onus of this falls on.
And the sad thing is we see this. Another reason I don't like to blame the athletes is because we see this with coaches. But we talked about the situation at NC State. Well, Will Wade comes in, he signs his contract, and they're thinking they found their next coach that's going to be there for a while because he's a pretty, young guy. And then he just puts in a year and then he just says, see you later,
Yeah. But again,
no penalties.
That's not really their fault. I don't blame the kids.
I don't blame them, but that's why I said I don't blame the athletes because, coaches are moving around. I mean, that was the most high profile person we saw that do that. And they were just shocked. It seemed like they were the only ones who didn't know that he was talking to LSU,
really?
that they were paving the way for him.
I know.
But I feel like they were hurt even. And it's hard to say that in this kind of business, like, oh, somebody's hurt. But, I know that their AD said, well, he was talking to me and we were talking, making plans for the next year. And the day before this thing happened, or a few days before we were talking, I never knew. And so,
Well, what do you think is going to stop it? I think once programs start getting eliminated, and we're seeing it more and more, there's an X account updating every day a program at this school that's no longer going to be funded. This program's going to club stat. Once it starts hitting bigger sports, that's when I think you're finally going to see enough backlash to where it's going to stop. Once we see women's softball programs being shut down, once you get into Title IX infringement, things like that, that's when this thing is
enough of it. I mean, I think it's, but we've also talked about this. There have always been kind of two tiers. There are the schools that just seem to make money, and there are the schools that are, having bake sales. And I feel like if we start to see, some of these smaller programs, they're losing their team, then the top players, they'll find a place somewhere else. I think it's going to take something really big at one of the bigger schools to really get people to listen, to pay attention and think about, what can we do to make this more equitable? And it's a tough issue, Rick, because, you want to see these Olympic schools supported, Olympic sports supported at your school. But everybody always comes back to this. It's like, well, football is a moneymaker.
Every time.
And so they say, well, sorry for you, but
it's got to be football. Got to fund football. Yep.
But see, I think if football is making so much, why can't something trickle down to volleyball or, what these sports are important too. And it's just unfortunate. I think it's going to take a while before we see things. It's going to have to be something really extreme because, as I've mentioned, there've always been two tiers. There've always been two tiers, and it's going to take something hurting that top tier for people to really listen. People are not going to care about a smaller school lost their golf team or whatever, because it's already happening and nobody seems to care right now. And when I say nobody, I mean, it's not like the whole nation is, in an uproar about this. It might be the people locally hate it, the people who are on the team. I've read about some things happening like with swimming and diving, and players are moving around because of this, but that just hasn't really broken through yet to the population at large. And I wonder, we call these Olympic sports, is it going to affect, our U.S. team, because they don't have as many schools feeding into this? Maybe if it starts to affect that, but I think it'll take a while, because those the top tier schools, they still are producing. They're producing at all these levels. They got their football going, but they also, maybe there's a team we don't know about, but maybe they're really strong in swimming, or maybe they're really strong in men's volleyball, but because we don't follow those, we don't know. And things are still going along as usual for them.
Yeah. Well, and Brad's asking, hey, ask Marvin, why is Carolina so rich? Well, Carolina's rich for a lot of reasons. For one thing, they've got a huge alumni base that contributes.
Yes.
I know John Montgomery, who just retired from the Rams club. I talk to him all the time, and he says it's amazing how many people are lined up. Plus, your corporate spot. North Carolina has one of the most supported corporate, and this, sponsored athletic departments, universities in the country.
Right.
So there's a lot of different reasons why Carolina, Michael Jordan also being another reason, that Carolina's always got money, right?
Yeah.
But that's, you're an anomaly.
In the world are going to have money, right?
Correct.
But it's really going to start to hurt, and it's already starting to hurt the smaller schools. It's they need someone like, now the UVA is by no means a smaller school, but we saw what happened when they got big investment into their women's basketball team. Like, they did stuff they haven't done before. And I think we're going to see that if a school is fortunate enough to have, someone who went there, who has a lot of money and says, I know football is always king, but I would like to, maybe I have a special place in my heart for tennis, and they start pumping money into that program, you'll see changes. But of course, every school is not that fortunate to have that. But there's money for a lot of these programs.
I just get tired of the way it's presented, as if it's always on the responsibility of the fans, who are already milked. They've already been, they're bone dry on what they can give. But yet, hey, if you want it, we didn't win but 8 games because we just didn't have this. And I'm like, come on. I gave the example of pro sports. Pro sports responsibility for winning teams are the people that are hired to bring the right personnel and coaches in there. In college, it doesn't seem to be that way. But yet, when the program goes badly, even if they get a lot of money, they fire the coach. So I don't know.
It's a lot to ask for fans, and games are so expensive. It's it's tough. I know I had friends who in the past have had season tickets to UNC, and they didn't have the best seats, not necessarily Rams Club members, just people, they loved the team. They went there and they were going, and their seats weren't that great, but they still supported. And with a team like Carolina, you have so many people who they didn't even go there, but they just grew up following the team and they love the team, and they're going to be there. And, maybe they can sustain this, with the ticket prices going up and up. But I think you're going to start to see some grumbling, like for the Carolina example, on the football side. I mean, I just read an article where somebody was saying they predicted UNC to finish last in the ACC. And I was like, if this happens, because people at UNC, people will stay away from football. They're not pleased. With basketball, people are going to go because it's an experience, to go to the Dean Dome, and they support because they just love it that much. But there's not the same love for football.
Basketball
and so if the product isn't that great, people are going to stay home. So then they're not going to be there buying your overpriced concessions and all of this stuff. And it's going to look bad on TV, because you see, we've all seen this with schools where, somebody gives you that wide shot. So
I know they mess up. They try not to, and they show wow.
Where is everybody? So I, as a Carolina fan, I hope that was just one guy. I hope he's wrong. But I mean, he pointed out, he made some key points that the schedule is tough. Carolina's opening up against TCU in Dublin, Ireland. I don't really know what that's about.
Where's that money coming from?
I
exactly.
don't know what that's about.
Why
But,
does that keep happening? Yeah.
You don't want to start your season though with a bad loss. You don't want to. I mean, that's embarrassing. You
How
don't
many
want to do that.
times? Yeah, that's a good point. How many is this like the third or fourth year they've had that opener in Ireland? I'd like to see the books of how much money.
Yeah. I don't know where that's coming from, and I don't really know what the purpose is. If you're trying to, do you want to get more Irish fans?
Yeah, I know.
I just don't know. Like, I understand what the NFL moves these games. Why we have games in Europe, why they've had games in Mexico, because they want to grow the fan base for the NFL in places where they're not going to see it otherwise, right? Because they don't. But by not see, I mean, I know they have television, but they're not. There's not like a local team. There's not a European.
It's not going to be the same, right?
100%. They're talking about possibly having a team. Like the NBA has a team in Toronto. They're like, we can have an NFL team in another country. I think it's wacky, but it's all about growing the brand, right? That's why they do that. But with college football, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, if I was over there and maybe I'd never seen one in person, maybe I want to go and check it out, see what it's like. Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe, yeah, exactly. Maybe, but you're like to your point,
on how much it costs, right?
They're not going to adapt. They're not going to attach themselves to not because it's North Carolina, but to North Carolina. They're TCU. It's not a pro franchise.
I mean, even if we sent our best college football teams over there, still like
it's not going to resonate. No,
it's just not their sport. I don't know. They're gonna.
Isn't there one in Germany too? There's I think there's two this year, two or three.
There may be one in Germany, but still, I just don't know. I mean, we know that people in Europe, what are they getting excited about? I mean, they love soccer, and maybe we'll think it'll happen like with basketball. Like now that basketball is huge, in other countries. So maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know, but it's like I certainly would never go there to see it. Like as a fan, I love UNC, but I'm not gonna get an airline ticket and do all this hotel to go see them play in Dublin. So it's not for me. I don't know who it's for. I mean, maybe it gives the players a nice experience to go play in another country, see a different culture. That's all nice.
Yeah,
but I don't get it.
I know. No, I'm with you.
Now, if you want to send me there, Rick, if
you want to be our correspondent for the Carolina game,
be your correspondent for the UNC TC
live. That'd be cool. Yes. Oh man, if we had that kind of budget, let's go live to Marva over in our Marva.
You don't have those funds to send me over there.
No,
I would go. For you,
great.
I would go.
That'd be great.
Yes, I'd bring the whole family.
For me, you'd go.
Yeah, for you. Yeah.
That's good stuff. How is everybody, by the way? How's the family?
Everybody's doing fine. Everybody's doing great. Yes, last week I said, you guys pray for me after this. As soon as we finish, I have to go get my son up for school. It's usually a hassle. He doesn't want to get up. Last week he got right up and we left on time. It was so good. So maybe it was, all the good juju from the BDST fans. Please, when we get off, let him get up right away and just be excited to get going. And
well, he's in constant short pants weather now too, right? He's excited.
Yeah, I mean, really, he's like, I would say of the year, he's probably wearing shorts. Let's see, 365. He's like 355. He is in shorts. There are a few cool days. It will drop down to the 50s here occasionally, and every once in a while it'll like drop down to the 40s. It's like you can't go to school like that. Like they're gonna think I'm a bad mom. You've got to put on some pants. And so, yeah, it's probably like 10 days out of the year he will maybe wear pants. Yeah, that's it.
No, you're terrific. You're a terrific mom. Absolutely terrific mom. Absolutely.
Yeah, but when
you're going to have that problem too coming up.
Well, seriously,
you know how we talk about these young people not handling their money? Well, your daughter's getting ready to launch her modeling career, so you got to watch out now.
Well, yeah, maybe I will be a momager. I'll make sure she doesn't blow it on silly things. But when it gets into the 60s here, Ricky, the rest of the country would laugh at us, but there are kids wearing parkas at school. If it drops down to the 60s, you didn't drop off line, you'll see kids are bundled up like it's freezing out. Oh, wow. What is going on there?
Tell me about it. I don't know.
I heard about a cold front coming through, but honestly, I didn't follow up on it. It's 71 here now.
71?
Yeah, and but it's only going up to high of 78. So like over the weekend, it was a lot warmer than that. It was like in 80s. Like I think it might have even been low 90s, like upper 80s. We had a real hot weekend, So only 78 today. So please keep us in mind.
63 here. So, for us, yeah, I mean, we're not parka
63
weather for
here,
us.
The kids would have parkas on and gloves. Some of them will be in boots, Rick, for whatever reason. I don't know. I think kids here get winter gear and they never get to wear it. So if it drops into the 60s, it's like, this is our chance.
So when you lived here,
I was freezing the whole time.
When we worked together, I remember you always being cold. I can only imagine now that you've been down in Florida.
Yeah, now I can't handle it. I can't. I mean, I'm not that bad. I'm not going to put on a parka, but I will be complaining though.
Wow, you wake up to
so
71.
Cold here.
Wow, that's so great. You wake up and it's 70 degrees.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, Chris is right. That's perfect weather.
But you would be You would say it's too hot down here. So you're
I like hot weather. David Smith and I talk about that. I like I used to when I still could do it before my legs gave out. I used to run. I like running and not humidity, but in the heat made my joints feel better.
Oh.
I can always be
really
hot.
Work up a sweat. That's what you want. Right?
Correct. I don't ever mind being hot. I feel like I can cool off, but I can't stand to be cold. I'm kind of like you in that.
Maybe you're kind of in the wrong place.
Maybe I am. It's time to. Hey, Marva, you got any pads down there close by? I'm thinking about being that guy.
Yeah, you come down here. I don't know though. You're gonna be a king.
That'd be great. Imagine you and me neighbors. Wouldn't that be awesome?
I know that would be fun.
That'd be fun. We could we could have our own little cast. We could just do a little live thing every
barbecues and all that good stuff.
We go
you
see
can
Marlins
do that
games
pretty much year round here. Yeah,
we'd have season tickets at Marlins games. Be great.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that seriously, it's fun. I'm still deciding, which game we're going to go to this year. But yeah, it's so much fun there. Whether the team is winning or losing, but again, team's doing well. They're still behind the Braves. There's a little bit more distance between them.
They
are
better.
But,
they are better. They are a lot better.
So, yeah.
They are a lot better. Well, when you go, you got to get video. We want to share that. We want to share.
We will, because it's so much fun. Seriously, if you're a baseball fan and you're going around and you're visiting different stadiums, come down here. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Win or lose, it's still fun.
Win or lose, it's Marlins baseball. It's got to be fun. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, have a great rest of the week. Tell everybody I say hello.
Will do. You too.
Stay warm. Stay.
Sweatshirt on.
Don't get too cold down there.
I'll try. All
right. Go Heels.
Yes, go Heels.
See what I do for you? See how I do that?
I appreciate it.
I didn't give you any Duke slack or anything today.
No, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay.
Be good. Thanks, Marva.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Miss Marva here this morning. She wakes up to 71, ladies and gentlemen. 71. We know what? More power to her, man. More power to her. All right, we're going to get Siegel on here in just a second. We got a lot of things we're going to talk to Siegel about. Siegel apparently really having a good time this weekend at the spring game. Boom. Thank to all of our sponsors, by the way. Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios here, 540-200-8294. Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, who made our T-shirts up in Pulaski. Give him a call. He's great. He can print anything that you need. The NRV Super Bowl, we're going to do our meetup. Give them a call, 382-5525. Thanks to Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give James a call, 540-381-8011. Mark Hunley off of Walters Drive. Best chiropractor in the biz. Lots of folks have hit him up, and they feel a lot better. They thank me, and I'm like, don't thank me. Go thank Mark. Well, they heard about it through the show. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations of any regional local business. They're down in Elliston, and go see the Smith brothers. Jeff, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Ready, Set, Fun with Bob Chris. Speaking of awesome, it really sounds simple, and it is. Let Bob explain to you how a series of text messages can raise your group or your sports team a lot of money in only a week. It's crazy. It's crazy. Professional Door. Speaking of businesses that have exploded, Travis Williams has taken his dad's business and taken it to a new level. 38 years in business. Residential, commercial garage doors. Sponsor of our text line. Thanks so much, Trav. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and the program. The attorney, Ryan Pryor, BDST fan question of the week. 701 West Main Street in Radford. Trust and estate planning. Wow, I still don't have a question. Help me out. I need a question from you guys. Hit me up. Send us a question in chat. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. And we are presented each and every day proudly by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We've had the releases we put up on our Facebook page. We've read all the releases up about the Sportsplex that's on schedule, about the BMX racing, about the track with Stacy Compton. I mean, it is just going and going and going. Thanks so much to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller. And I think that gets us caught up here before the Siegel man joins us here on the program. Good stuff. Yeah, Tebow, did anyone think we'd see 18, 19-year-olds with agents? Yeah, then that's ruling the roost, man. You know how many businesses have been created? Agencies. You can't even talk to a kid now without an agent in college. Wow. Well, it's not all 40K students, Chris. It's just out-of-state students is 65. I don't know what it is for in-state. Probably about half that, say 30, 35 would be my guess. Right? And there's a hell of a lot more kids making six figures than 10 to 25 throughout athletic programs. I know that. Need just set a ready set fund to help Marva go to Marva. That's true. In the SEC football teams alone, there are more kids than that making six figures. Because you think about six figures is $100,000, right? Plus, there's no honest reports of any of the money going out. Right? There's no honest reporting. You think all these budgets that these people are saying, hey, this is what was spent on the college basketball Final Four. You think that that's all? Come on. It's like budgets for movies in Hollywood. We're always told it's a lot less than it is, but it's usually twice as much or more. The only ones being honest about it are the ones that are bragging about it. You don't think Texas Tech paid $45 million for its football roster and they don't have more than 10 or 25 guys making six figures? All right. Yeah, Texas has a $40 million roster, and we're going to believe that only 10 players are making six figures. And again, this isn't necessarily about that. This is about asking for more and more and more on top of everything else. Money laundering scheme, a major person at Tech told me. It's starting to make sense. It is. What's up, Brian Siegler? How are you?
Rick, how are we doing this morning? Sounds like we got a little fun money conversation.
Yeah, we've had a good discussion going on this morning. First of all, I understand that you were having a really good time at the Boundary Corner podcast on Saturday.
I had a really good time. It was a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. We did 3 segments up there. Libations were to be had. Yeah, Evan Williams' white label was consumed at the table.
No, you had beverages? No way.
Beverages. Yeah, it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. Big crowd up there on the hill. Really good atmosphere. We had South End Zone in the backdrop there, so it was lovely.
You met Big Al. He said he talked to you. Did Big Al? Yeah.
Big Al came by. Yeah. We chatted for a little bit. We had a good time. He was singing your praises as usual. So yeah.
Well, he drinks a lot. So there you go. Brian, did you go streaking in the quad or on the quad, Wayne asks?
Nah, I didn't go through the quad past the gymnasium. I didn't do any of that. I kept the clothes on. The closest I got to nude was wearing a tank top in public.
Well, it was hot out there, right?
It was. It was warm. It was a hot one out there. It started the day pretty warm too, so like it wasn't like I had to shed. I took the top shirt off pretty quick and just had a good time with it.
Adult beverages, yeah. Let's specify that. Adult beverages.
Yes,
people are saying, yeah.
Well, libations.
As long as you had a good time and everything went well, I'm sure a lot of people come up to you. And what were some of the reactions that you guys had for the spring game? Some of the things that you saw on the field that you liked?
I like the entirety of our tight end room and how we're using them. I think that that jumps off the stat sheet even if you weren't at the game. Looking at the tight end receptions and yardage, that was a pretty big one for me. But watching those guys in actions, especially Luke Reynolds, was impressive. He did a really good job of getting a couple opportunities for run after the catch. He made a couple hard catches, little back shoulder seam route that moved the sticks there from Ethan to him. And the tight ends had a really good day, and I think for the most part the quarterbacks had a really good day. Especially Grunk, with the efficiency. I think that's the big thing that I'm taking away is that the quarterbacks looked a lot more efficient than what we've seen in recent years.
Yes, and I think that's going to continue to develop. I'm a big fan of. I was a fan of Ethan Grunkemeyer before all this even happened with James Franklin coming to Tech. I mean, watching what he did last year against the Big Ten, that's all I need to see. I don't care what he does on Saturday at the spring game. We already know he's ready to go. He will be ready to go. What he did against Indiana, what he did against Iowa, and how he played and handled adversity and what proved to be the toughest league in the country last year. Yeah. I'm telling you, I think I know Tech fans understand it, but I don't know if people across the country are thinking about how good he could potentially be this year, right?
Yeah, and I think at that point we knew, when that first game happened, and then he goes in and is going up against Indiana. I think we knew that they were going to be a really good team. We didn't know at that point they were the best team in the country. So that game always looks better in hindsight at this point.
Yeah.
And the getting thrown into the fire against Iowa, like there was a lot of things that he got to do and like kind of speed run his initiation into being a college football starter last year.
Sure.
So it's exciting to get someone that has had that trial by fire coming into your building with like I said, a much improved top to bottom talented roster going into 2026, especially compared to what we were dealing with in 25.
Well, as Chris said, the defensive line was active. In Andy Bitter's report, he basically said there was pressure basically almost every snap. Does that concern you a little bit about the offensive line makeup and the depth there? I mean, there's always Coach Beamer used to talk about it all the time. If you have one unit in the spring dominate over the other, that's a problem. You kind of want it to balance out. It didn't balance out very often in terms of Tech's pass pro on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is that, when you look at the Maroon offense, I think that first unit was a lot better than kind of the unit that was running in the second half. And it really showed because, I think you had 2 or 3 dropbacks in a row by Troy Hune where you get a sack. I think that's a little bit problematic, but it also, you got a true freshman quarterback.
A lot of that's on him. Yeah.
He's not necessarily getting the ball out in the same rhythm that somebody like Ethan Grunkemeyer is. And you combine that with probably having more 3s than 2s in that second unit of the Maroon team. I think that's the big, that's a bad combination. And that's when you saw the sacks really stack up. The first half, there was pressure, but there wasn't pressure that you don't expect. It was more of like, quarterback hurries and stuff like that. It wasn't that catastrophic drive killing sack that we saw in the second half for the Maroon team.
No, that's a great point about the ball. I remember Bill Parcells used to say that 70% of problems with pressure is the quarterback hanging on the ball too long. Sacks are usually a product of the quarterback's decision, not necessarily the line play. So I guess it kind of, you're right. A lot of that was on Hugh.
And we saw, like, we saw some check downs from Bryce Baker. We saw some check downs from Ethan in the first half. I think the biggest thing with some of those other quarterbacks that played in the second half, Bryce excluded, was that, they're still kind of working through this new offense, especially Troy, and he may not know where that second or third read is. If he's sensing pressure, he doesn't know where that outlet valve is. So there's going to be a little bit of delay in the clock that he has compared to some of those first string guys, second string guys that probably are a little more acclimated to the college game, if not, and the speed of that than Troy may be at this point.
Well, you were over there. What was, you had the hour delay. How much did it, with the parachute incident, thank goodness the gentleman's okay. And he's come out yesterday. Actually, he was talking about what had happened. And apparently it was kind of intentional from him. He saw that he was going to crash into people in the stands, and he wanted to avoid that at all costs. So he kind of just, adjusted on his own, to be honest with you. But what was the vibe like that around the people you were around at the game?
A lot of concern. Obviously that's not something that you see or expect to happen at the start of a spring game. But it was intense. When the first guy came in a little hot, but he came in a lot quicker than those other two. And we saw the second one with the tech flag kind of bail. I was like, okay, well, I'm assuming he's aiming for the practice field. That was my hope at that point for him. And, it looked like the last gentleman was going to clear the scoreboard, and then the wind shifted. And then I think he tried to turn it back when the wind shifted because he knew he wasn't going to make it to the field. And, next thing you know, he has that collision with the scoreboard. And, man, it was a tense little 30 or 40 minutes there. Watching a ladder come up and then can't get it the right way, go back down. Then the ladder truck comes out. But really good job by first responders there taking care of that situation. Great job by him staying calm, hanging, literally by a thread for 30 plus minutes. So it was just one of those things you get to see probably one time in your life, and just thankful that everything, turned out safe for everybody across the board.
You hope that's the last time we ever see anything like that. Awful. What about anything? What was a concern? Did you have like a concern coming out? Like, did you talk about with the guys? Well, I didn't really like that, and they need to figure this out. What'd you think?
I think I know it's spring game. I wish we'd have done a little bit more, maybe a couple more shots down the field just to kind of let the wide receivers stretch their legs a little bit more. I thought we were very deliberate with the route tree in the spring game, but I don't think we really took the opportunity to take any shots or dial up anything that was going to be the opportunity for a big explosive play in the game. You had a couple seams, you had one or two play actions, but we really didn't play off of the play action very, very much, except for like quick rollouts, bootlegs, things like that. So getting some opportunities to take the ball down the field a little bit further would have been nice to see, just because that gets the crowd going in the spring game when you have a nice deep ball, big play. You feel really good about it. So not seeing that, and looking at it, I think the safety room looked a little better than I thought they would, but I think there's still some room for improvement there, especially in pass coverage.
And you know what? You don't mind hearing about needing improvement in the spring. You never want to hear about a team, boy, they looked really great. Boy, they're ready to go. You've got a lot of work to do, right? It's just like a basketball season. You don't want to peak in November, or early December.
You don't because I think when you look at that, it's like, okay, well, if we're looking that good, how good are we? Like if you're beating yourself like that, okay, maybe we're not what we think we are.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and
exactly.
It also, putting some blemishes on film this time of year is not a bad thing.
And no, not at all. You want to be able to coach, and hey, this is what we got to fix. All right. So Moore says, hey, Brian, is Evan Williams the best value whiskey for the money? Tell us, Brian, you whiskey connoisseur.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Dollar for dollar, it's the best you can get.
There you go. If you can't drink it neat and with a cube of ice, I don't need it, he says. Okay. Well, interesting. So what we need to do is hook you up with Jen, the Gamecock girl. She is a bourbon connoisseur, my friend. Oh, my goodness. She has I don't know, hundreds of bottles she's collected, different brands and different makes. Yeah. So we need to get her out at one of your Boundary Corner podcasts.
Yeah, come swing by. Yeah,
she would. She would.
We'll sip a little bit and have a good time.
What do you guys got coming up this week? Going to have a recap show? What's going on?
We got a live show tonight. It's going to be a call-in show. So
hey,
we're gonna throw the link at the listeners out there. Let them come on live, give us their takes of what they saw, what they feel about the spring game, how the festivities were, all the Franklin effect of spring game weekend. If we want to talk about skydiving a little bit more, we can do that as well.
Well, yeah, you have to kind of, But now that we know he's okay, you can talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Chris says Woodford Reserve. He's got the.
I'm not going to turn down any Woodford. I'll tell you that much. But again, speaking solely for dollar, it's the best. $25 you can spend, $30 you can spend if you're going with the Evan White label.
Real quick, Prometheus says, "Hey Brian, is Malachi Williams potentially going to be the best edge rusher? You think? How good will he be, in your opinion?"
I think he's making his case for being in that kind of 4-man rotation at the edge position. Whether he steps up and is the best overall, hard to say. But he had himself a game in the spring game, and I think he's showing the ability to bend, get around the edge pretty well. So, and he's the right size that you're looking for, like 6'3", 6'4", I believe, right around the 250 range. So, he's got good size, good enough length. I think he's going to do well there.
And Brandon asked, which player looked the absolute best to you? Was there one guy that you're just like, okay, we other than maybe Grunkemeyer, that we hit a home run with?
Yeah, Luke Reynolds, absolutely,
Luke Reynolds.
1,000%. And I don't think it's really. I mean, it's close, but it's not that close. Like, he looked like a different type of athlete out there compared to everybody else, because he's big enough to play the tight end position, but he's out there looking like more like a big wide out in his route tree, and his ability to catch with his hands just checks all the boxes that you want from that position.
And the fact that he knows Grunkemeyer and vice versa so well from Penn State, that gives him such a head start, man. It really
Oh yeah. He absolutely is coming in on second base already. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's already in scoring position before he gets here. Yeah. Chris says Tyrell Grant had a good game too.
Yeah, I mean, and thankfully we had Jaquez White go down with the ankle, but thankfully it sounds like that's not going to be a long-term problem. So thankfully that's good, but it's always tough seeing guys go down in the spring game. You're like, I hope that's nothing that's no more than a 3 to 5 week timetable recovery. So you can get back
exactly.
ready for fall camp.
Got plenty of time. Got plenty of time to get back and get ready to go. So what time you guys going tonight?
We're going live tonight at 9:30.
9:30.
So if you want to come, join on, give us your take, talk to us a little bit, we'll be there at 9:30. Looking forward to it.
All right, join the guys, have a good time, talk about whiskey, whatever might be on your mind. So that's great.
Yeah. Throw us some recommendations while you're at it.
And everybody says you were rocking the tank top, my friend. So just future consideration there for you.
Hey, maybe you know what? I'm gonna have to keep it out. I'll bring it if it's warm enough. I'll bust it out.
Yeah, you got to keep it out
for the people.
Especially if it starts like a winning streak. I mean, you got no choice at that point.
Yeah, I walked up to the tailgate, said, I was told I had a right to bear arms, so here they are.
I like it. All right, brother. Have a great time tonight. Appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, Rick. Have a good one.
Thanks, man. You too. Brian Siegler from the Boundary Corner Podcast. He's out there sleeveless and drinking whiskey. Yes, sir. It's a spring game. There you go. Hit us up in the McClellan Chiropractic chat room and on our professional door text line. I was working. That's where I would have gone, by the way. I would have been out there with Siegel. He doesn't invite me on. I would have just showed up and forced myself onto his podcast. If I could have gone, that's where I would have been. Good stuff. Yeah, I agree with that, Prometheus. I think if he continues to develop, Reynolds is going to be an NFL guy. Sure. I mean, I know it sounds like old guy football, but that's what excites me most about James Franklin being at Tech. Pro-style offense is going to be back. and I'm not saying that spread doesn't have its time and place, but man, I like the era I grew up with. It was too conservative football back in the day. It could be third and a yard and a half, and you're always going to run up the middle. If you didn't make it, it's fourth and a half a yard. You're going to punt, right? It was never a consideration to go for it. It's always like, so I like that part of it, but I like having 12 personnel. I like having 13. I like that. To me, I like that. And Coach Elmo's been saying that he thinks, Gosnell's going to be an NFL guy. You could see him 5th, 6th, 7th round get taken and have a 7 to 9 year career. So that's a guy who knows a little bit about talent. So that's good. That's good. Mike Burnip will join us, and we'll get a more, I guess, eye for someone who's looking at starters and how this team's going to look coming up from the spring game. Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff all the way around. And a good discussion this morning about all this that's going on. Remind me, we got to give Jen a hard time about Equestrian National Championship at South Carolina, not because they won it, because she's going around promoting that as if it's, going to be the accomplishment of the athletic department. I mean, I'm assuming they're not necessarily stationed within the athletic department. I mean, you're not walking down the administrative hallways, or maybe you are down at South Carolina, and all of a sudden you see a few stables with the horses. For me, this says that the spread is good for a 2-minute offense, but a run first, I love it. Yeah, I love it. Give me 7-minute drives where you're beating them at the line of scrimmage. And then by the time you get to the third quarter, you see that defense wearing out. Prime example, my beloved Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 32. We had not won a Super Bowl. We were heavy underdogs. And what did they do? They flat out wore out behind the offensive line, and Terrell Davis wore Reggie White out, wore Willis out. Those guys were crawling around in the fourth quarter. No chance they were going to stop. T-Bird says, I'm going to Christiansburg later. Maybe I'll drop in at Panera. Well, take your dentures out. Make them sign your dental waiver agreement, before you go in there, that you can, maybe develop from your insurance company. And maybe make sure, just like when you were growing up and your mom or grandmother would cut up your food, make sure somebody's there to really try to make it as fine as, maybe take a blender. Maybe you should take a blender and drink your Panera sandwich. Or you could pour the soup in it. But you better hurry, because the soup's going to be cold in like 27 seconds. Boy, there's some eating. I'm ready to tackle the second half of my day. Why? Why do you say that? Because I just had a cement hard sandwich and some cold soup at Panera. Nothing like an apricot sandwich. Great comments. Love the chat. Wayne's mad at us now because he actually, I believe Wayne identifies Panera as fine dining. So he's a little upset at us. We have two big announcements coming up here on the show. I'm going to save them for a little bit. Yesterday was a good developmental day. We might do one of them on Thursday with one of our guests. Dun, dun, dun. But yeah. Channel's growing, and I thank everybody Get the subscribers up and keep going in that direction, and we'll be okay. Channel got hacked. I've had to deal with that. That's okay. That happens. That happens. T-Bird says that's true, but Wayne also considers Bret Michaels a crooner. It's true. Poison. Their name was apt because they proved to be poison to the ears. What's up, Derek? Good morning on chat. Just getting caught up on chat. What do you think about the Texas softball team? Well, Derek, I've said it a lot. I saw them firsthand a couple weeks ago at Radford. They could be a College World Series team. I don't think that's hyperbole. They could be a College World Series team. I think they're going to end up hosting a super regional. Tech fan will turn out, and Pete's got a really good team because he's got two dynamic starters, and there's not one weakness in that lineup. They have home run hitters. They've got a leadoff hitter who knows how to get on base. They've got gap hitters. I know. They're still fine. They're going to be fine. Georgia Tech, what do they take? 2 out of 3, Wayne? Is that right? Sometimes that happens in conference play. And maybe sometimes you need that. But they're really, really good. No Brett slander. Well, I mean, he was a man who could rhyme. I'm telling you. They're going to win the tournament, Wayne, and they're going to get back into that status. That's what's going to happen. Equestrian. You realize Prince died in 2016? It's been 10 years since Prince died. How is that possible? Pound for pound, Prince Rogers Nelson is the most talented musician of my lifetime. Come at me. I will fight you. Am I wrong about that? Yeah, it is a good league. I'll give you that, Wayne. ACC is a good league. Really good league. Rick needs a dry erase board on the wall to track his list of pet peeves. 17 years since MJ died? Wow. Really? It's depressing. Billy Strings is taking over. A dry erase board. That's not a bad idea. Just to hold it up. Here's today's pet peeve. That's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I'll get a small one and just on the Tuesday BDST. Here's the pet peeve of the day. Hey, Kenneth, what's going on? No. He's asking me, I heard your discussion this morning. Great discussion about what's going on with college athletics. What's your solution? I don't have one. I don't. Stop paying out the money. Get control of it instead of always showing us your books about how much money that you're losing and then going out and doing things like Iowa State women's basketball did yesterday. I don't know. I'm gonna go let the Creed in. I'll be back. He finally showed up. He's been so stubborn about the cold. Like the cold, he hates it when it's hot, it's cold. But he's been out there for several hours, so he looks like he's ready. So let me go grab him. I'll be back. Come here, buddy. Cold ears. Cold ears. He's got really cold ears. Still can't believe it's 17 years. Wow. Thank you, Chris. See, he defends me on that. Prince had a different understanding of music. He could create any type of music. They were always great live. He was such a good athlete, dancer. He was a good basketball player. Prince was a terrific basketball player. If you look up if you watch his documentary and stuff, he was a really good athlete. But he fell in love with music very young, and the rest is history. Thank goodness he did. Thank goodness he did. You know, the Batman album, he did every bit of that on his own. He played every instrument. He produced the whole thing. Everything was just him. Isn't that crazy? Not really when you consider who it is. So what happened? Who got hurt? Yeah, Prince was. I wish so much I could have seen him live one time. So Billy Strings got hurt skateboarding, broke his leg. Wow. That's awful. Charlie Murphy playing basketball with Prince. I bet he got worked, didn't he? But he got abused by Prince, didn't he, on the hardwood? Hey, that's good news for me. He said, I saw James Franklin wearing school colors for the first time on Saturday. I wonder if they finally said something to him. Yeah, Prince could play some ball now. Good. Chris, game blouses. Yeah, he had like his jersey was a little different. He had like the little frills. Yeah, I do need to see that. I'll have to check that out. That's right. Yeah, he wrote that for Susanna Hoffs, who he was just smitten with. She claims they went out once. They never did anything. And that was it. But yeah, he gifted them. He wrote so many songs like that you don't know about. Nothing Compares to You by Sinbad O'Connor. Sorry, that's the old Phil Hartman, the Hartman group. The Sinatra group skit on SNL. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Ah, cool. Morris sent me the Billy Strings t-shirt. Nice. Good job. No, he did not write Every Rose. as it's Thorn. No, he did not. Prince would not have had problems writing lyrics with rhymed like apparently your guy did. Do you think Bret Michaels, they didn't understand it? Like, you think he did it thinking it rhymed, and when he sang it back, he realized it didn't, but it was too late at that point to turn back, so he just let it go and just saw what happened. And then he lucked out. People didn't notice, or if they did, they didn't care. Because, it's such an amazing tune. Yeah, Prince was one of the best living guitar players while he was around. If you ever see the one that stands out, go to YouTube and watch him play the guitar for While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles song, when he's on stage with George Harrison and Tom Petty et al. Others, and then he does the solo and absolutely destroys it. And everybody was just in awe, all these Hall of Famers on stage, and here's this guy just came in just to play that part. And then he was done. He just threw the guitar up in the air and walked off the stage. Now that is showmanship. I encourage you to go look it up. Just Prince, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and listen to that solo. What's up, David Mabry? I wasn't into Prince's genre, but I would pay good money to watch him play the guitar. Yeah. Think about it. I don't know if he had a genre. He could do whatever he wanted to. If he could be a rock musician and make it pure rock and roll, he could have done that. But he had funk in his blood. That's what he used to say. He did. And it was terrific. Sometimes It Snows in April is one of the purest, saddest emotional songs. Yeah. He lost a good friend of his. Yeah. That's you should check that song out. Then again, it's very sad. It's brilliant. But the focus is on it's on Thornrick. Bret wants you to listen to his story. He brings you in with his eyes. Oh, is that what it was? That's a great way to put it, Brian. Prince's genre was Prince. Yeah. Yeah. I like the two of the best stories for him, too, is like he got challenged by the label he was battling. He had to write a #1 song, so he went out and wrote The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. They didn't think he could do it. He turned it over really quickly. It became #1. And when Kiss, the song, when he's doing it on purpose, by the way, in falsetto, because he felt like that's the way the song needed to be presented, the record label said they couldn't release that as a single, that it would never be a hit. And he got his way, and, well, that song, I think it may have went to #1. Or if not, it was a top 10 hit. It was huge. Yeah, you're right about that, Prometheus. Yeah. Go to many concerts over the years. Every time I go to a hole in the wall in New Orleans, I understand some of the best musicians aren't known. 100%. Down in Nashville, if you go to some of those honky-tonk places down there and you watch these guitar players, I feel the same way. I'm like, how does this guy or girl, how are they not bigger, right? They're so talented. 100%. Like T-Bird. Every cowboy sings a sad song. Yeah, sings a sad, sad song because, every word, every rose has its thorn. Because, thorn and song rhyme. Now we're getting tons of response here on our text line from all these folks. Yeah, I think I'm okay, Steve, for the 28th. I'll look one more time today to make sure, but I think pencil me in. Yeah, and the list goes on, Wayne. Yeah, the list goes on. Who, Sheena Easton? Yep. Maybe Susanna Hoffs. Personally, what broke him was when he lost his child, when his wife at the time lost their child. And apparently, that's something he never, ever got over. Yep. Very sad. Very sad. And then I believe he suffered the same thing as many people, right? His body was starting to fail him there as he got a little older, and he was taking those meds. And I don't think you mean to, but I think maybe he just was in so much pain. He had hip and back problems, and that's when they found him at home. Sad. That was a terrible day, man. Terrible, terrible day. And the thing about it, he had made a call to his doctor about he needed to get checked out or get his meds checked. And the doctor was on his way to his home in Minnesota. He never moved out of Minneapolis. It was his home. He never moved into a big mansion somewhere. Well, he may have had them, but he didn't live there. He was trying to get there, and something happened. There was a delay, an accident or something, and he was late. And when he got there, he found him deceased on that elevator that took him through the floors of his home. That's very cool, T-Bird. Very sincerely thankful. Our first daughter came along at age 21 and changed music from my focus to my hobby. Very cool. Yeah, Mark Knopfler, terrific. Yeah. It's one of those things. Is it okay to say you respect a band, but you don't really like a lot of their music? Or not? I shouldn't say like. I didn't dislike Dire Straits. I just never hey, I want to listen to this Dire Straits album. And maybe I haven't listened to enough of it. I understand the talent they had and the influence they had. I just don't know if maybe I need to do that. Maybe I just need to listen to a little bit more of it. I think my first real exposure for them came in the 80s and those songs. I'm glad they had their moment. I really am. He deserved it. Oh, that's cool. So Wayne got free gifts from, oh, no wonder. Yeah, he got free gifts from Wayne. You were working security in Charlotte, invited me backstage because going to concert in Charlottesville and I met him. Oh, that's cool. Gave you drumsticks, poison shirt, a flask. Well, that's pretty cool. No wonder you're biased. Little payola for you there, Wayne. Congratulations to Richie McKay, by the way, the head basketball coach at Liberty. He just signed a new extension. Rich McKay is one of the good guys in college sports. And I'm happy for him. Very much so. Good dude. Good basketball coach. Good dude. Good basketball coach. Thanks to, again, all of our sponsors, Sundown Electric. What was the how would they go about fixing college sports? Yeah, let's do that. That was Brandon. Thanks to the Ready Set Fund, Professional Door Incorporated, Travis Williams, sponsor of our text line, National Bank member FDIC, the NRV Super Bowl, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, Top Shelf Apparel, National Bank, member FDIC, the attorney Ryan Pry. What was your number one thing you would do to fix college athletics? Let's go with that. That's our BDST fan question of the week. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street. We're presented every day by Pulaski County Sports Entertainment, McClellan Chiropractic, Mark Hundley, and Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios. Thanks to all of our wonderful sponsors, because we couldn't do it without you. Could not happen without you. You're right, Travis. You're right. Wayne can be bought. Yeah, apparently so. Apparently just give him a couple of poison drumsticks and, well, we all have a price. Everybody has their price. Well, that's cool, though. He gave you stuff. That's cool. You should have asked him about not being able to rhyme, though, Wayne, in that song. I think that would have been a great conversation to have with him. No, I don't. Thanks, Terry. I don't have any answers on fixing it. Trust me, we face that dilemma every day down at Radford. We don't know. We don't know how to fix it. We just try to deal with it. We see what High Point's doing as a private school. There's not really much we can do. You just do the best that you can. I think what we do, just knowing how campus works with the Highlander Club, they do a great job of not always overextending. Does that make sense? Of overextending their asks because they understand it's a little different. So Brandon says promotion for BDST by me for a game broadcast. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to do that at some point, Brandon. I don't know when, but we're going to do it. It's going to happen. We will do it. We will do it. Should have given Brett a rhyming dictionary. Yes, there's such a thing. Remember, Brandon, I wasn't the one pushing back on that. That was your boss. I mean, you and I were planning our trip. We were on the road. We were basically on the road. I had the car door open waiting on you. Nope. Everybody has their price, especially if their thorn is not a prick in their rose. I like it. I like it. He did. Well, Mike had been drinking heavily that morning, but yeah, he did. You had good a good timbre to your voice. That was fun, by the way. On Saturday at our softball doubleheader, I was able to call those games with Mike Ashley, and it was really fun. Mike comes right in, and he doesn't really know much about the teams, but he sat down, and he knows the game. He added a lot. It was fun. It was fun. It's great to see him this past weekend. We had a big baseball alumni weekend, and Mike started the baseball program down at Radford. So it was good. It was very, very good. Yeah, great to see him. Great to see him. It's always great to see this Mike as well. It's Mike Burnham, entering 44 years in the broadcast booth. This appearance brought to you by Louise Baker, Long and Foster. What's up, Mike? How are you?
I'm doing good, Rick. I see you get that sweatshirt on little frost on the pumpkin, brother.
Telling you, man. What are we doing, Mike? It's 33 degrees right now outside the studio here.
I know this, that I didn't turn the heat back on, and I'm sitting here and it's 61 in my house. I'm thinking, oops, it was 83 Saturday.
I know. It was beautiful. And then, Sunday was just miserable out there at the baseball stadium. Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. A little bit windy, a little bit of wind chill.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
I have no idea.
It's awful.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You're right. I am a little cold. It's a little cold down here. Yeah, a little cold down here. It is.
Where's that sunshine when you need that shade coming
I know.
through?
I know. I even left it open, hoping it would warm it up a little bit. But yeah, I was like you. I refused. I was kept fighting it, and then eventually the house temperature got down to like 63. I'm like, I got to cut the heat back on for a little while. I got to warm up, man. I could.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. Well, a lot went on Saturday, right? And I guess what was your and Bill's reaction on the air when they had the parachute incident and so forth and the delay? First of all, it's great news that he's okay, and he was out speaking about it yesterday. But man, oh man, what a start to the day on Saturday.
What a start to the Franklin era, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Some fireworks and a little jumbotron action.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that was kind of scary just watching it, because we're up there in the booth and we're about looking down at it just by a couple stories probably. And I mean, that thing's coming in. The first skydiver came in hot. I mean, he made it to the Lane Stadium field, but the wind was blowing so bad, Rick, he hit the deck. Fortunately, he didn't land on his feet, because as fast as he was coming in, he probably would have broke his legs. But he got on his fanny, and I guess that's probably what they're trained to do. And I mean, he must have slid 20 yards before he got up, and I got that chute down. And then you saw the other two, and then like, wait a minute, where are they? You couldn't see them. They had their picture on the jumbo board, but you couldn't see them in the sky yet. At least from our booth, we couldn't. And so then you finally find them, and they're over there like by the practice field. I'm thinking, whoa, this is kind of weird that one guy came in from this direction and these other two were in the other direction. And so the first guy comes down, and he came down like on the practice field, and you thought, that's really kind of weird. But the way he was coming at the angle, you thought, man, he had to be close to getting to the edge of that fence.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the skydiver, the big one, had the American flag. He hits the top of the video board, and it was like, wow, I cannot imagine what must have been going through his mind for that 25, 30 minutes. He was up there just dangling. Like, what am I going to do if it breaks?
Right.
Yeah. And then you saw the managers, all the football managers were running. They were sprinting back and forth from the indoor facility, bringing all those dummy pads, the tackling dummies, the pads, any padding they could get, they were bringing over there to put underneath in case he fell to break the fall. I mean, that was amazing. Those guys were kind of little unsung heroes too. And I don't know that would have helped that much from that high up. But fortunately, then the fire truck comes and it's too short. And I thought, well, they took the ladder back down, and I'm thinking, well, maybe they're going to get an extension ladder and just kind of somehow fix it up to put those ties on it to get it higher. But then they came back with that ladder number 12 truck that was able to get up there with a platform, and they got him down. But boy, that was some scary stuff. And of course, it delayed the game for like an hour. And, frankly, they were ready to come through the tunnel, Rick, just about. It was like 2 minutes till 4.
Yeah.
Or 2 minutes till 3 o'clock. They were ready to come through the tunnel, and then that thing had all be canceled, moved back. The team goes back to the locker room. Then they had to come back and warm up again out on the practice field before they came through the tunnel. It was some wild and crazy stuff, man. You just, if you live long enough, they say you might see it all, but that was nuts.
Yeah, it was nuts. Did you guys stay on the air the whole time through that whole?
We were there the whole time. We didn't take a commercial break.
Come back.
No, we stayed on the air and just kind of did a play-by-play of what was happening, and you could see the some of the emergency people climbing up the back of the scoreboard, and they had to shut all the power off in the stadium, so there was nothing. That's why you could hear no announcements or anything, because there's so much electricity in that video board, and he's dangling from that. And then you got a guy that's opened up one of the panels and kind of trying to secure those the parachute strings and ropes just to keep him secure and talk to him and make sure he's okay. I mean, so we just kind of stayed on the air, giving a play-by-play and trying to see what was happening. And
Wow.
it was crazy stuff. And then when you leave the game, that parachute's still up there. That's kind of
Yeah.
a lasting memory.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is.
Wild stuff.
Well, and then finally, once that was finally corrected and taken care of, and the gentleman was safe, you had the football game to get into. What were some of the immediate things that stood out to you as things unfolded early on Saturday?
I like the way they got off to such a good start. They had the teams kind of broken up fairly evenly. I mean, there were some guys that you assume that are going to start on both sides, white team and maroon team. But Gruckenmeyer was on the maroon team, and he had Luke Reynolds, the tight end. He was on the same team along, and so those guys just clicked on that first series, took it right down the field. I mean, it was a pretty fast drive. I think it was only five, 6 plays, something like that, 75 yards, and Reynolds caught 3 passes during that drive. So I think you could see the way they used the tight ends. Rick, I thought I was impressed with that. Those 4 guys caught 17 passes, I think, for over 200 yards.
Wow.
So that's a big part of this offense. They didn't want to show a ton. They did a lot of the bootleg, hitting into the tight end out in the flat. They went to the check down receiver a bunch, but there weren't a ton of sacks, but there weren't a ton of blitzes either. So it was kind of vanilla, but I love the way that all those quarterbacks looked good. And I thought Overton, the running back, Jeffrey Overton looked really, really good. Some of those guys on defense looked good. I thought, Aiden Green, obviously he's very, very talented. And one of the kids that kind of stood out too is that Tashir Denmark, kid from Philadelphia. Thought he was a really good receiver. I think he's going to help him out with the depth in that room. There was some good stuff. All the kickers, man, those kickers can kick. They got some nice legs, both as place kickers and punters. And so that was good to see too, albeit against no rush. I thought there was some really good things out there. And, they had to scrap a couple things because of the time. The thing didn't start for an hour late. So they originally were going to come out of the tunnel and go right and do a little skeleton pass, a little 7-on-7, and do that for about 8 or 10 minutes. And that got scrapped just because they wanted to kind of keep the crowds. They've been waiting for an hour. And so they kind of moved things along. There was no halftime. They did a little punting thing where the punters punted, and they had like 8 or 10 people from the stands come down and try to catch
That
punts.
was cool. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. Yeah, I think one person caught it.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a great contest. That
Yeah.
They need to do that more every year. That was cool.
Yeah. And the punters didn't help them. I mean, one of them kicked one so far over this one kid's head. He was going back. And he never got close to it. I think the wind caught the punt.
Yeah, he read. Kept going. Well, and to see Grunkenmeyer, we saw him last year at Penn State. He's ready to go. He was game ready against Big Ten teams. He's going to fit right in here, and I didn't see anything that dissuades me from thinking that. But the chemistry he had with Reynolds makes a lot of sense. They were at Penn State together. It feels like we're going to have a lot of 12 personnel, maybe some 13 personnel, Mike, and I love it. And I know you like that kind of football too, and that's the thing I'm most excited about, man. I know it sounds old school, but I like pro-style offense and just punishing defenses, and that's what Tech wants to do now. I like it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think they're going to spread that thing around, get it from sideline to sideline. And, you saw a lot of action out of the quarterbacks, the bootlegs and stuff. But the quarterbacks, too, they kind of impress you, Rick, because they don't stand back in the pockets, They get rid of the ball quick. And it's hard to sack guys when you do that. And then other times, when they get the ball out there, it gets the ball out in space fast so that the receivers can do something with it. They have a little separation there and they can get it. And then when a couple of plays broke down, they were able to find the guys open for touchdown passes. Thought that was kind of impressive too. Brent Prime mentioned a little bit about that, they don't have quite the depth yet on defense. Some guys might have got a little bit tired. They gave up some big plays, had a couple mental breakdowns, and that's going to happen some. But there were quite a few guys out that will be challenging in August when this thing gets started back up again. So, and that's on both sides of the ball too. You're gonna have some offensive linemen that are going to come in and
Sure
be able to help, and you're going to have some guys on defense and cornerbacks help. And so, yeah, I think it's all in all, it was a good day. You hate to see anybody get hurt, and two of them did. I haven't heard the status of that. I think White is going to be okay. The defensive back, he's very talented. That kid can play. And so, yeah, we'll see. That competition will keep going. They want to keep the momentum, the competition going. They had a ton of recruits there, 125 or 30, I think, were there. And you could see them all down the sideline with their families and whatnot. And that was nice. They had a nice picnic for them after and stuff. So yeah, it was good. It was a great weekend, and all started Rick Thursday night. They had a networking event with a bunch of people that have businesses that let the players come around and see what that's about, because all of them are not going to go to the next level. Like, in fact, most of them will not play at the next level. So they had a nice networking event, and then Friday afternoon, 5 to 7, I guess, they had the Edmonds brothers were there for the reunion. That was packed with a bunch of ex-players. And then the gala they had after that was there in Castle Coliseum. That was packed as well. Got to see Louise Baker.
Yay!
How about that? Yeah, it was great. It's one of the highlights of the weekend. I've seen
We
her
thought
from
she would be
afar.
there. Yeah.
I saw her from afar in basketball, but I got to see her up close, got a big hug, took a picture down in there in front of a bunch of balloons. So, yeah, it was fun. It was great to see her. She's doing so well. And just seeing all the ex-players come back, that's big with Franklin, too. Get that guys that built the foundation, have them back on campus. And so, I know Tyrod Taylor was there on the sideline, and obviously Michael Vick was there at some point, I think, during the week,
Yeah.
because he brought his whole staff in. And then Bashal Tootin was there. There was just a lot of people. Wyatt Teller. So, yeah, it was fun. What a great weekend. The weather, man, did it cooperate? Wow.
I
That was
know.
fantastic.
What was your best guess, you and Bill, about the crowd? We've gotten all sorts of people from all over the guess on the crowd total. What would be
Yeah.
your best guess, you think? That
I don't
stadium.
know. I would think it was probably maybe in the mid 30s, maybe. It's hard to tell because you look out there and, the west side was pretty full. I mean, even though every seat wasn't taken, there were sometimes people would spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I thought the end zone where the students sit below the Jumbotron, that was pretty full. And the south end zone, because of the shade, I thought that was pretty full. But the east side, just a lot of the lower part was, but those people were getting fried there early because that sun was bearing down. So I don't know. I don't know what the official number is or was, but it was a heck of a turnout, I thought.
No, that's it. If you got 35 there for a spring game, that's a good turnout. I know people kept thinking, because I think Franklin said it, we want to sell it out, that they were going to be disappointed. But I think that's a good crowd. I think that's just fine. That's just fine for a spring game.
Yeah, and you never know. I mean, the traffic was so bad. I mean, we looked out there right before 3 o'clock, and the emergency people, the state police, they monitor all of that, and they said the traffic was backed up so far on 460. Because the parking situation was just not real fluid.
Yeah,
because it was open parking, and a lot of the lots were getting full, and people were having to go pretty far away. So yeah, that part it's really kind of hard to tell to get a good number.
Well, and now the work for this team, Mike, it doesn't stop, right? So now even more important things, you got some guys on film. I mean, they're going to continue to build, work with these guys, exit interviews, whatever it might be, right, to get ready to go now for the start of this thing here in just a few months.
Yeah, and Coach Franklin mentioned that these the coordinators and every position coach will meet with their players, and then he said, I got to meet with 120 of them, all of them. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks to do that. He said it is a grind, a process, but he's got to do it.
Sure.
You talk about their expectations and your expectations of them and how it's going to be, and then that competition will continue on. They'll have a bunch of camps in June. And they're going to hit the road recruiting as soon as they meet with these players. That's an open part, and work on the rosters for years to come. I mean, they have recruits there from 2029 class. And so, yeah, it's the work never quits for those guys, that's for sure. But he's done a remarkable amount of stuff in a very short period of time.
And overall, just watching the team, and you saw them in the scrimmages, obviously, and you followed them closely as much as you can in person. But Did your vibe about the team improve any on Saturday at the spring game, or just kind of okay? That's kind of what you expected after watching those guys. As long as you have this.
Well, I mean, I think it was good to see the defense kind of get after them full speed. I think they're faster than a lot of people think. And, Tyson Flowers is a really, really talented kid back there. He's going to be great in the secondary. Noah Chambers, the linebacker, I think he's going to be really, really good player. They experimented with a lot of things, and a lot of people. And so I think that the nucleus is there. There's more depth than they've had in quite a few years, Rick, in that regard. And you can see the talent at quarterback. I mean, I just think when you go to look at all four of those guys have talent. They throw nice passes, and I think there's no big concern there if somebody gets hurt that the other guy couldn't step in and help play and get them going. So I think that's really, really good as well. And just the overall talent, size, and speed is better than we've had. And so I think that competition is going to continue on. It should be fun in August to watch. I don't think they want to name starters. I don't think they want to have a depth chart. It's just competition, and everybody's got to continue to get better. And even if you had, that's what killed you sometimes. Even if you had a depth chart and people are named starters now, if you come back in August and you don't do the job,
I know
you're going to lose the job. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you got to have a starting point, yes, but you got to perform in August, man. That's when the chips are on the line, and that's when the depth charts get solved, and that's when you go with your two deep, because you don't have but so many days to get ready for the first game, and then that grind of that season is upon you, and you don't have time to speculate with guys. Yeah, you got to know who can play and who can't.
Absolutely, 100%. Thanks to Louise Baker team of Long and Foster. She's a pretty good dancer, probably too, at the event. I'm guessing.
I didn't see her cutting the rug, but there was not much. I didn't see any music either. So we could have put her up on a table. Maybe that'd have been fun.
That's true. So I always like to ask one final thing, Mike. I opened up the show today talking about, Iowa State. They paid a women's basketball player $1.4 million yesterday. This is a program that reported losing $2.6 million last week. When you see these kind of decisions being made, this is the kind of thing that gives me no hope there's any hope on the horizon for this to be corrected. I don't understand the decisions that are made fiscally. Throw the sport out. If you're losing $2.6 million, you're giving one kid $1.4 million. How does that make any sense? And what are we doing?
I don't know. If I ran New River Office Supply like that, I'd been out of business 30 years ago.
That's right. You would have closed your doors. That's right.
Yeah, we're talking about dollars, not millions, right? Yeah, I don't know how they do it, Rick. It's not sustainable. I just don't understand it. It's crazy. Even though talking to some of the Hockey Club guys, they said they're raising a ton of money. But now it's all about the NIL. What can you get to pay the players? And you saw it. You're going to see. I mean, you saw it in basketball. I talked to Mike Young the other day. He was at the gala, and he's frustrating for him losing these players, because he says, you got a guy that averages 4 or 5 points a game that's going somewhere and going to make, 3 times what you're going to pay him. So it's nuts the way that system is right now. And until they get the guardrails up and get some boundaries, I don't see it changing.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
Out of control.
100%. Yeah, out of control. Well, thank you, as always, man. Great report about everything in the spring, and I hope you have a great week, and maybe we'll get warm here sooner than later. And stay warm. Good Lord. Man.
I know, it was bad the other day. Sunday was terrible, and it was just the wind. And then out there this morning looking up, I had to cover up all my plants and pull half of them inside. I'm thinking, man, oh, man, this is nuts.
When you going to Florida? When you headed to Florida to your house?
Well, we're having our big show at our office, our open house tomorrow, so I can't go this week. And then next Wednesday, we got to go to Richmond. We actually got an award, Rick, for the business. Where we were one of, I think it was 10 SWAM vendor recognized as one of the 10 SWAM vendor awards for Richmond. So we're going to Richmond next Wednesday.
Congratulations! Well, you've earned it, man. That
was pretty good, yeah. And then
that's cool.
Then we got a couple Hokie things. The May 4th and May 18th dates were set for Hokie Club things in Tidewater, Northern Virginia. So yeah, a little bit. I'm going to get down there though in the next week or two, just even if it's for a long weekend.
You can add that to the title of your business now. Right now, award winning.
Yeah. or something.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Well, you've earned it. Good Lord. And I don't think, I mean, you think about that, Mike. I mean, I'll give you some flowers. Think about starting a business 30 years ago like you did and have it still successful today. That's impressive.
1979, Rick.
79. So
That
we're
was
talking
a little more than 30.
So 40. What's that?
Were you
21,
born then?
40. I was. So 40 plus 45 years. Are you kidding me?
Unbelievable, isn't it?
It is, man. It says a lot for you and all the folks who have worked there. You know, that's really cool. That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
that thing. Yeah, I have had a great crew, but what's that song? I'm still standing. Yeah.
You walk into the place and that song plays.
Oh gosh.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's awesome. That's great. That's great.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it
Got
is.
a great crew.
That's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. All right, brother. Listen, enjoy your week, and I hope you can get down to Florida sooner than later.
I will. Just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time. And as always, thanks to you, Louise Baker and the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. Good stuff. All right, brother. Stay safe, man. Talk here soon.
Rick. Okay, sounds good. You take care.
Thanks, man. You too. All right, that's awesome. 45 years from Mike. That's great. 79. Actually, more than 40. Let me put the right number on. 71 years? 47 years. 47 years. That was my Radford mathematical education coming through there. 47 years. That's cool. That's impressive, man. And it shows you Mike's all about the community and cares about people, and which, you know, that comes through on all the broadcasts he's done now for going on 44 years. I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. You don't get a lot of people that are loyal to their place like Mike Burnham, and that's really cool. It's really cool. I've known him a long time, and I've always marveled at his ability to communicate, the way he talks. I mean, he's just a genuine person. You don't have a lot of genuine people anymore. You know, you meet somebody, you kind of get it. Mike has always been that same guy. Anybody who meets him, anybody who followed his career at Tech and what he's done in business and listened to him on the air, I mean, it's great. It's great. One of my favorite segments we've ever done on the radio show back in the day when we started this whole thing to now. It's always great to see. Always great to see. And now we've got Mike singing. Yeah, that's right. We got Mike singing Elton John. You know, instead of the bell ringing when you open the door at the office, instead of that, you just hear that song play. Phil Elmatian, here you go. Mike Burnett, Virginia Tech royalty. Amen, brother. Coach Elmo. Well, you know, you are too, Coach Elmo. You are. You're kind of, I mean, you were there during that time. You were royalty for a little while, as you said on the show earlier this week, until they ran you out. Good stuff. Good stuff. But yeah, kudos to Mike. Kudos to Mike. That's awesome. I mean, that's cool. That's cool. Two of the finest kind there with Bill Roth and Mike Burnham. The dynamic duo, the buffet buddies, alive and well. And Tech fan, don't ever take that for granted, because you got the best two guys working. I mean, I don't care where I'm at. I mean, I'm always muting the TV. Even if it doesn't sync up, I'm listening and I'm watching. I don't care. I'm not listening to some no talent TV bum try to talk about Tech when I've got Mike and Bill. So. Yeah, absolutely, T-Bird. Yeah, that's Mike's company. Yeah. Does a great job. Go see him. Go see him. He can help you out. Good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. You hear those two voices, you know you're listening to Tech football. I mean, that says it all about your legacy. What is a big part of Tech football? Roth and Burnham. That's just it. Yeah, it was broadcast. They've done that several years now. Didn't used to be, but it got worked out several years ago that the spring game was an actual broadcast, and they do a great job of making it sound like, you know, it's a little more relaxed. Obviously, you don't really have you're pulling for everybody as opposed to just one side. But yeah, they've been broadcasting the spring game for a number of years. They certainly have, and you know it really comes in handy, especially this year when you didn't have the video component. I mean, it wasn't broadcast anywhere. And that's the other thing kind of bugs me, right? If you're an ACC network, which has been terrible almost at every turn. Let's just say it the way it is, especially revenue producing wise. Virginia Tech has one of the best broadcast communication programs. Mike's got the SMA. They've got equipment. Why would you not have even if you don't want to commit the resources to do it, why would you not just let them broadcast the game? Talking about all the Tech folks over there. Have Roth and Burnham call it, put their vote, and just put that on ACC Network, all the teams in the conference so fans could go and watch their spring game. Is that just me? Yeah, you damn right they should, T-Bird. Tech should name their press facilities at Lane after Roth and Burnham. They should. That press box should be their press box. It should be. 100%. No, there's not one person would fight that. Or if you do fight that, you're not a very good person. Absolutely. I could not agree more. The Bill Roth, Mike Burnham press spot. Yeah, the Roth, whatever. The Buffet Buddies press box, whatever you want to call it. Good stuff. Thanks to Marva. Thanks to Brian Siegler, damn drunk, and to Mike Burnham. Good stuff. And thanks to you. Again, you make the show. Again, we got two big announcements coming this week. We're excited. Well, maybe not this week. We got two big announcements coming. So we're growing. We're growing. Started this in mid-August, and here we are. We're growing. So it's good. It's good. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please subscribe, like, and share. Thanks to all of our great sponsors that we've talked about in depth. And we'll see you tomorrow. We slide over the hump tomorrow on Wednesday. Bundle up. It's going to be chilly today and tonight. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody.